Who is Osmongol?
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Open your eyes. Reality is but an illusion.
OpenAI has committed $1.4 trillion of AI data center spending over the next 8 years. OpenAI claims to have just $20 billion of annualized revenue, and they lose billions of dollars per month. OpenAI obviously will not generate the money to pay for this on its own. They are reliant on raising money from outside investors. In September of 2025, OpenAI announced its biggest capital raise yet. NVIDIA agreed to invest $100 billion into OpenAI to help fund the construction of new data centers. It's now been
I don't know. You sounded a lot more majestic in those old scrolls about Wufengji.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3,
Students and federal police
2,
officers clashed during
1.
downtown LA protests, but they were actually using, you can see these poles, to attack the federal officers, and I think they were also unfortunately accidentally harming their own people too. But since then, we saw a bit of a scuffle.
March and rally is turned into being a little more violent. So the student-led march that we showed you earlier on was about 100 or so people. They were marching through the Civic Center area. We managed to make it over here to the federal detention area, and that's when they entered the property. They went. They were asked to stay on the sidewalk outside of the detention area.
Yeah, because this is actually the parking lot over there. Now they're in the street. And the simple fact that they got there, that's a dangerous journey to walk through downtown LA to get there. Like, you're right off the freeway, there's traffic over there, but Dare to Struggle National saying, across LA County, over 500 students from 24 plus schools. So there's not 24 local schools. They had to walk far to get there. They walked out defying hostile administrators with about 10 schools in the downtown shutting down traffic, meaning get there in the streets, demanding something in Spanish because they refuse to be sent there, but they also demand that we become there. It's weird. After moving speeches and the crowd barely confronted a handful of DHS agents outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. The full-day protest ended with a celebration and dancing in front of MDC's blocked entrance. So notice how they say there was dancing and celebration. We barely confronted the DHS agents, meaning you fought them, you struck them, probably even struck your fellow students, and you're trying to say this was a peaceful thing. But, like we saw in that other video, one teacher was fired for opening the school gate, saying, hey, he unlatched a fence to prevent students from getting injured while escaping because they hurt themselves hopping over the day earlier, meaning to say they know this is a dangerous journey.
Now it's showtime.
They know they're getting hurt. They know a student got stabbed at it, earlier in this month and also a year before.
A nice
But
deep breath.
they're finally firing the teachers responsible for this. Exactly, they're running out of gas. They said Lopez was fired for insubordination because look, they're trying to keep the kids in class because if the teacher is helping them leave campus, he's actually making the school district responsible because this is now a teacher-allowed walkout. This is a faculty-led situation. They said the school respects the students' right to express themselves, but must prioritize safety. You know, the safety for the school board and liability, what I think. Now, the students are saying, bring us the teacher back. I think there's a GoFundMe in a petition with 1,000 signatures. They're trying to bring them back, but honestly, they're finally losing steam. They can't write these fluff pieces saying there was celebration and dancing in the street when there was actual assaults of federal officers and these guys, they're kids. But I think they're gonna be charged because you're starting to see stuff like this over at a anti-ICE walkout they're now not going to war with. That's a bit of hyperbole. But they're attacking because they're throwing bottles at them. Oh, there's music or whatever. But a guy wearing a Trump hat getting apples and water bottles thrown at him. They're shouting at him with a megaphone. Like, this is not something the school district can endorse. Because this is dangerous for everybody involved. Like, you don't know who this guy is and throwing stuff at him. What if he's a insane, violent person and starts to attack them back? What if he just has pepper spray or something? Like, you don't want this to result in violence. You don't want them to get hurt. But it very easily could be like that. Yeah, this is utter lawlessness. Like, where is this right now? Outside a barber shop, they have signs, and it's like, here it is, just kids parroting zombie talking points. They don't know a thing about border laws. They don't know anything about how many people Obama deported compared to Trump. They don't know a thing about the kids in cages during their administration. They don't know anything other than, here's an excuse for you to ditch school. Here's an excuse for you to not be lectured by your dumb liberal teacher, just rambling on about stuff you're never going to use in the real world. Can we just go out there and party and dance in the streets and get social media points for whatever? It's sad. They're indoctrinated fools. They're sheep, but they're being put in danger, which is a problem. But finally, you have 69. I don't know, but you have one of these schools where it looks like the teachers, not the teachers, the parents are finally going to start to file long overdue laws.
Protests over ICE, but one father was so pissed about this, he went straight to the school board.
Now it's personal. Our children are involved.
Yep.
I am sick and tired of watching politicians and school boards, people from the city, telling children they can go out and fucking get in, excuse my language, go out and get in the face of law enforcement. Good evening, my name is...
Exactly, because, look, they even tried to look the other way. It was moving speeches and speaking Spanish, and they barely confronted a handful of DHS agents. No, this wasn't barely confronted. What if your daughter was the one that was just picking up her sign and gets whacked over the head by this insane other students trying to fight the feds? Like, this isn't just peaceful protesters and they're like having a celebration and marching. It's like, no, you're teaching them to be the future felons. You're teaching them to be the future pretties, the future goods that will lose their life on behalf of a movement that will do absolutely nothing but give the Democrats a few more talking points to talk about on television. He doesn't want his kids to be used as a useful idiot for this. Nobody should allow their kid to be used as a useful idiot for this unless you yourself is indoctrinated by this nonsense.
My name is Vance Verlavi, and on the afternoon of February 2nd, 2026, my 14-year-old child called me. He was not in school. He was not sick. He was in the middle of White Center, Washington, in the middle of a protest that was organized for his middle school.
Oh, I think this was a guy we saw on the other stream where he picked up his kid and said, I didn't want to go, but the teachers walked us out there. And there was kids in the middle of the road when he was going up to pick him up. So it's like, yeah, he has a reason to be outraged. I think it's crazy how people keep on pointing out the people in the background on how they're almost smirking at his outrage, not knowing that it could have been easily their kid that got hurt. Yeah, that's the guy that found out his son was involved in the walkout. He was angry, and he said he'd bring it up at the next school board meeting, and kudos to him, he actually showed up.
Okay, my stomach dropped when he called me. You guys have noticed that on January 30th, 2026, 2 children were killed just blocks from a school on Rainier that was having a very walkout that day.
I didn't know about that.
RCW 28A 600-035 by allowing...
Well, that's crazy. So there was kids lost their life, and that wasn't national news? That's wild to
You'll
me.
need a top-notch team
At least
to
he
win
didn't dress
this
up
one.
like Batman, because he dressed up in a 3-piece suit with a tie on. He wants to actually impact something. Sad to say, people will take you more serious if you dress like this. Like, I think you can even see he has like sleeve tattoos poking out. Obviously, when I used to go to court a lot, I would wear suits. I wouldn't wear my casual clothes and a baseball cap because that impacts things.
On them to leave, and under Initiative 2081, the Parental Bill of Rights, I have the right to know where my child goes. That was taken from me.
Isn't it crazy? The Parental Bill of Rights. What was it? In Florida, the parental Bill of Rights, no, the Parental Rights and Education Bill, they called it the Don't Say Gay Bill. When all it did, it said a teacher can have a conversation about even being gay, as long as it was in the classroom setting. But if a teacher ever has a one-on-one conversation with a student about adult activities, it must be disclosed to the parents. everybody, I mean everybody, should be on board with saying, hey, with all this funny business with teachers and students, if they have a private conversation with your kid about this stuff, the parental should have a right to be informed about it. But then the Democrats labeled it the Don't Say Gay bill, got all outraged, when if you read the text, it was a short bill. Never referenced that at all. That's how insane they've got.
I was not given notice. I was not given an email. I was not given a call. You expose him to real danger, that's neglect, and that's endangerment. RCW 98-42035, criminal negligence by not being aware of the substantial risk.
Yes.
You call it policy?
She's shaking her head.
I call it abandonment. I am filing a lawsuit before the college office. I want to make something perfectly clear. Someone's going to be held accountable.
And I think that's why California, as liberal as they are, they started firing people, and they fired this guy because they do not want the lawsuits coming in when inevitably, and I keep on saying, I've been saying it for weeks, somebody's gonna get hurt. One of these kids is going to get injured. Like, I think in Nebraska, the one girl got run over for running at a car, and I think it was a student in the car. I don't even think they panicked. I think they were trying to get around him, but the girl ran in front of her. She got hit. Now, very fortunate she wasn't severely injured, but the idea is it keeps on teetering on it, and if you're allowing them to essentially fight the feds and walk miles across downtown city streets, something's going to happen, and they're going to be held liable, because you can't say they didn't have foreknowledge of this. It's been happening for months now.
All of you will remember it. Because for some reason we lose our case, we'll make a case law out of this, protect parents' rights to know where our kids are.
Firing people doesn't stop lawsuits, but what it does do is it deters the other administrators, the other faculty members, the other teachers from doing the same. Like over in Nebraska, when the kid got hit by the car, they said, yeah, they didn't let her out, but she was allowed to make that poster in class time. You gotta make sure the teachers are afraid they're going to be held personally reliable for helping these kids protest by firing the ones that do help, to hopefully downstream make it so you don't have an environment where activist teachers are making activist students because they think they're gonna be immune from punishment.
At all times. It's ridiculous. It's criminal negligence. And yes, a principal was fired for coercing students to participate in protesting. Just so you know. I had an hour worth of yelling to do, but today I'm going to narrow it down to 2 minutes because you didn't give me enough time. But I will be here at every school board meeting to continue what I had to say today. I am not finished. I yield my time.
Throughout the rest of this public comment section, we predictably had a bunch of people of the liberal persuasion praising these brave students. One guy speak.
How many of these actually have kids in this class that were marching in the streets putting down? I want to know. Yeah, what a great performance. These are the moms? That would be crazy.
Though stuck out to me, and it wasn't because of what he said, but because of the reaction he caused on these people behind him. Watch.
Let's try to remember Charlie Kirk.
Whoa, oh my, so he has said, he talked about Charlie Kirk, someone that was assassinated, and she's almost rolling her eyes at that, which is insane because I want to know if her reaction to Charlie Kirk is this.
Try to remember Charlie Kirk.
Was she crying about Pretty? Was she crying about good? Which is just showing us that they don't care about life. They care about winning some war in their head. It's kind of scary.
Who was 90% smarter than most of the people sitting in this room. And his core value was to bring people to debate, to understand what
they're sitting
was
back there
happening in
laughing
the
and
world
talking
today.
about that is wild. That is wild. That's why you have some parents that are willing to send their kid out there in the streets to possibly be run over because these are the type of parents they have at home telling them that. Yeah, it's against their mentality. Very sad.
Get people to talk about what was going on. But I guess it didn't align with what everybody else wanted to
I really
see,
wish
so
I
they
could hear what they're
murdered
saying.
him.
They're laughing.
We all know who Charlie Kirk is. I'm sure everybody, especially the head of the teachers union here, knows who Charlie Kirk is. He was somebody bringing this country together. Whether people disagreed with them or not.
He was willing to talk with him. Like, what was the debate he was gonna have before he passed away, or he was assassinated? Was with Hassan. If he's willing to talk to a guy like that, I don't know many people from the left that are willing to talk to Ben Shapiro.
He was getting the
And not even saying that Ben Shapiro is the same thing as Hassan. I'm just saying prominent liberal or prominent conservative figure. Yeah.
kids to come out and talk. And I got some bad news. He touched a lot of people between 8 and 35 years old. And those people are going to rise up, and they're going to make...
And he ran out of time. I expect all of this, though, to cause rising homeschooling rates to propel even...
I know people that are very liberal that already know they're going to homeschool their kids. Because they know what happens on those campuses. Even if you're liberal, even if you agree with this stuff, you may not be as liberal as your insane teacher that's going to just fill those kids with insane ideals and actually use them as their political pawns, their sacrificial lambs. It's scary.
Higher.
Yeah, good on Daily Caller right there. But it's like, it's one thing when they think, oh, we're going to have a party, we're going to fight that. But I think it's, they're losing steam and they're starting to find out that they aren't this resistance. It isn't trending. This is what I would see, like, you know, when millennials look at boomers and think they're lame. This is Gen Z looking at millennials and thinking they're lame because they're not freedom fighters, they're not fighting oppression, they're goobers. Look at this over here. This is the same building right here that the kids were marching to, and they fought the feds. This is the federal building downtown. The reason that whenever they march on this, they close like 3 exits in downtown. It's very annoying with this. He's a loser. He's a loser. He's a goober. Like, I'm fighting fascism. I have a pirate flag, but also squeal like a piggy when the slightest amount of consequences come my way. They see people like that. They see this right here in Massachusetts. Like, this is when the kids walk off campus to protest ICE. They're not this. They're seen as this. They're aligning themselves with this.
Be surprised, people in this world are getting organized.
Again, these are talented people. That's an amazing level of harmony and singing that I can never accomplish myself. It's great. But they're theater kids. They're theater kids that don't have any plays to go to anymore. Don't have all these, you know, they don't have an environment where they can go on stage and everybody will pay attention to them. Not being mean, I'm just stating a fact because obviously I'm over the hill as well. But the biggest moments of their theater career are behind them. Now they're trying to find another platform and they're using activism and it's not putting across the message that they think it is. It doesn't stop them from being cringe, yet they don't realize they're past the grade school era where everybody would show up to their singing event, their concerts in class and smile for them. This is adulthood and nobody gives two things. I think the kids will see this and say, I don't want to be aligned with this. Because as you said on chat, it's losing steam. Like, this is the level. This is the level of desperation they have right now. Of tornado sirens, essentially tornado sirens against ICE. Like, obviously they say this is illegal, they need to get rid of it. But I mean, this is nuts. Yeah, millennials are kidults. I think I am a prime example of them. I think they said action figures and toys are more purchased by millennials than they are Gen Z. Like, obviously my nieces were like past the age of toys or whatever, but my nephew, I don't think he ever was really into toys. I think he was just into sports and running around and being dirty, which is like kind of what like my childhood was more like. But I think that, yeah, millennials kind of had that like arrested development, and we've been more captured by being like, you know, kids.
All right, what you're hearing right there is an ice warning is blaring through Highland Park. It's a new tactic to immediately alert people about ice activity. The sirens can be heard from half a mile away.
A siren? That has to violate so many noise ordinances, and the idea that who's in charge of saying ice is here, and what goes to say that somebody with like a flipper can't go there, hack it, and just turn it on nonstop. I would honestly, I was thinking, I wasn't going to do it. I was not going to do this. This is not an idea to do. But there was all the anti-ice protests outside of Dodger Stadium, and I was going there for, I think I went to travel all the way out there for Otani's return to pitching, his first day back as a pitcher. And I was like, wouldn't it be the nefarious plan for me to say go on Reddit and, like, you know, pay some astroturfing company to say, hey,
failed me, magic was there.
huge ice operation to occur outside Dodger Stadium, and also off this this off ramp. They're gonna do all this immigration enforcement out there, and I'm like, yeah, I want to go to a concert. I want to go to a Dodger game, or if I want to go anywhere that I just don't want to deal with, you know, typical LA traffic. Why wouldn't I just start the room with it? There's like huge ice activity there, and then just kind of drive in traffic free. Sad to say, they're making. Don't do this, but I'm saying with this little device, they're making it possible now.
At least 20 have already been installed in homes and businesses, and an online fundraiser has started to help expand the system.
A fundraiser. So who's funding this? Find out who's funding it and arrest them.
However, the LAPD says the sirens could violate the noise ordinance.
And here's the problem is, it could violate noise ordinance, but if LAPD won't enforce these smallest of infractions, I don't think they're going to start to enforce this, because obviously Mayor Karen Bass isn't going to support her copper turning this off when she wants to be the mayor that does not assist ICE.
Alright, what you hear right there is...
Yeah, that's terrible, and I wonder how bad that is for the environment. Like, you know, the left likes to be for the environment and all that stuff, but it's like, I'm sure that disturbs birds, that disturbs the wildlife, that probably, you know, there's all sorts of stuff that they just kind of let go of when it becomes not the current trending thing, the NPC talking points of the left. Like, what is it? They were all about green energy, renewables, and reduce, reuse, and all that stuff. But as soon as AI became their thing, they want to push. You don't really see anti-energy production movements anymore, because they know how much AI is terrible for the environment, and they suddenly don't care anymore.
Our enemies are near.
Today we're talking about the ashes of creation, absolute gaming scandal, and the legal nightmare that's come of it, and one of the biggest disasters in gaming history. This is a legal mindset. We've seen you, Judge Andrew Esquire, American attorney. This is a Fast Facts video, the quick and dirty version of the latest in legal news. And this is something that came to my attention as I really came into the scope of this, the accounting nightmare and absolute insanity. And from a person who's been corporate counsel, this is a level of absolute corporate degeneracy that needed to be exposed. And also the risk for people investing in this, whether you're a large investor or whether you're just a Kickstarter backer. All of these people were harmed in this scandal. So let's get into that today on the show. First, ashes of creation. So this is the defendant here. Just so you guys understand, this was supposed to be a quote-unquote old-school sandbox MMO type RPG. In case you haven't heard of it. It had been planned for 9 years, since 2016. So obviously the studio, Intrepid Studios, is at the center of this, but the real defendant here, the one who really comes up over and over again, is Mr. Steven Sharif, who is not only creative director, but really the founder, the driving force behind this. And when you look at all the accounting, it points back to this gentleman. And there are many plaintiffs. When you look at the plaintiffs here, you see that there are WARN Act lawsuits for mass layoffs. That's something I'm going to explain to you guys, because the laws regarding that in America are actually very strict. And where they were in California, they're even more strict. Then you've got CFTC Game Holdings, Robert Dawson, a massive investor, Yaya Legacy Trust with Jason Gramis, unpaid vendors, they were not paying for stuff like Google services, etc. All that had to be paid back. And then one thing I'm really concerned about is backers and crowdfunder class actions, because in my mind, Kickstarter funding and whatnot, it may not be as big, but it shouldn't be treated as less than, or shouldn't be treated as second class, and these people shouldn't be forgotten about as people that were harmed as part of this whole debacle. So let's get into it. The opening statements here. The Sandbox MMORPG was developed, announced in 2016. It grew through Kickstarter, primarily hitting $750,000 in 12 hours. So getting a lot of traction very, very quickly, and eventually ending up with over $3 million in funding. So a significant amount of Kickstarter funds in the aggregate. Although, yes, that's less than the total investment amount. But we have to remember, as we're going to see, a lot of this was really a pyramid of loans based on projected revenue, based that was not reported correctly or not being actually donated, and then that used to create larger loans. So there's a whole sort of pyramid that started with Kickstarter. Without that Kickstarter funding, they wouldn't have been able to secure the larger loans and get themselves in this deep. The early access was launched on December 11th, 2025, but the entire studio closed in January 2026, and the game was removed from Steam on February 2nd, 2026. So the real question there is, like, did the people that bought in get what they paid for? Did they expect the launch to take 9 years and then only last for a couple of months? No, that's not the typical expectation of a gamer, and that's not what you'd expect when you're going to buy a product. So the WARN Act, the mass layoff, this is a really interesting federal law that I have a lot of experience with, and it deals with the 60-day notice for companies over 100+ employees. Back during COVID, I was around when we had to issue these type of warnings to all sorts of companies across the United States, and particularly if you're in California, they have an extra special statute that has more requirements and is much more strict. So they laid off 123 employees without proper legal notice. So this signals to me, as someone who has deep experience with this, very big insolvency issues. Typically, you're going to be able to do this. You're going to be able to get around this and deal with this if you've got the money, if you've got the ability to deal with this. Only companies that do not have money and that are truly deeply insolvent are going to run up against WARN Act mass layoff issues, right? That's typically a sign that you don't have the money and you're not doing the budgeting properly. And the cases that are looking into this and the cases that are against this are in several jurisdictions, but they're really seeking 60 days back pay and benefits. There's 2 class actions. One of them's in California, and like I mentioned, California law is not in favor here, so those people are probably going to get a payout there in California. But I want to read you the comments from, once again, Mr. Steven Sharif, because he's a character here who, after these layoffs were happening, tried to draw out a lot of sympathy. And as we're going to see, he's perhaps one that shouldn't be speaking here. But let's read his statement to give it fair dues here and give it some, some thoughts. So he said, and this is one of his statements he made on Discord, I can make a limited statement in my personal capacity and not on behalf of the company regarding the situation. Control of the company shifted away from me, and the board began directing actions that I could not ethically agree with or carry out. As a result, I chose to resign in protest rather than lend my reigning authority to decisions I could not ethically support. Following my resignation, much of the senior leadership team resigned. Following the departures, the board made the decision to issue the WARN Act notices and proceed with a mass layoff. I cannot responsibly speak to further details at this time due to ongoing legal and governance matters. That's some real corporate lawyer speak right there. What I can say is that the developers and staff acted in good faith. That's a word right there. And deserve better than uncertainty they are now facing. I am incredibly dismayed by the situation. I guarantee you he had a lawyer draft this up. I can tell you that right now. There's a definite lawyerly statement talking about limited statements, good faith, right? This is something that his lawyers drafted up. And we can see that when we actually do the accounting. And credit to Nafaz HQ, who did a lot of the accounting work, and there's a lot of great accounts that have been following this and haven't gotten enough traction on this, because I believe a scandal of this size deserves to be exposed so that everybody knows this is what you can be getting into with these projects you're giving money to and investing in, whether you're investing on Kickstarter or whether you're somebody who has a significant amount of money, like in your pension or your 401k, and you're deciding to direct it towards these things. This was a massive amount. We're talking about $99 million here, right? And once again, this is absolutely an insane amount of money that was really misused. So let's get into the investor lawsuit. So the first lawsuit with TFE lawsuit in Nevada was by Robert Dawson against Sharif and John Moore. It claims embezzlement, commingling of funds, fraud, and breach of fiduciary duties. Those are all very serious claims, and those are all related to essentially when you're having an amount of money that's not directed where it should go, it's being embezzled. You're commingling funds. That means personal funds and business funds, right? Fraud, fraudulent misrepresentation. You say you're going to use it for one thing, you're using it for another, and breach of fiduciary duty. You're in charge of those funds and you're misusing them. You have a fiduciary duty to your company, right, and investors to use them in a proper manner. So they go out and say that Sharif withdrew $10 million, that just wasn't accounted for. disappeared. He was paying his husband, Mr. Moore, right, John Moore, the former COO, a salary without work. So essentially his husband was not working. So remember back to his statement when he says, hey, the senior leadership resigned. Well, yeah, one of them was your husband who wasn't doing any work, right? Using company funds for a California mansion, definitely not permissible. And then using loans as revenue to secure larger loans. So essentially, they were taking loans based on promised revenue or based on that Kickstarter revenue. Once again, all going back to Kickstarter, taking that Kickstarter revenue, using that to secure a loan, and then counting the loan as revenue, which is not good accounting practice. I'm not an accountant, but I can tell you right now, that's not a good accounting practice, right? To use a loan as revenue to secure a larger loan, right? And that's just a big pyramid of debt that ends up collapsing. And then sabotaging the company upon its resignation. So all these things happened, and this lawsuit was concluded, and TFE foreclosed on Intrepid seizing all its assets and IP. So they did get the assets and IP in this case, and it does show, once again, you've got evidence out there, you've got documents that have been released to show that these things happen. So these documents and evidence are now used by people, such as on YouTube, to expose them, accounting impacts, emails, etc. But they can also be used in other class actions, and that's very important here. Next, there was the Yaya legacy lawsuit, which was another large investor, Jason Karamis, against Sharif. And this one's got really the big key points here. Pretty much saying that Sharif orchestrated a $140 million fraud scheme by falsifying self-funding when he really gave no money himself. So he had zero personal investment looking at the QuickBooks and using that as the evidence to say, hey, he's got nothing. He was failing to report monthly losses of $2.3 million every month. Think about that. Not putting those losses on the books, that's crazy. Having no board meetings in 9 years. And this is one that I like, how negligent do you have to be to not have a single board meeting in 9 years? That's really how you pull the wool over people's eyes, is you're just not talking about things, you're not having any minutes, you're not doing what a normal corporation would do. You'd have board meetings very regularly. If not, when you're really spinning up, you might even have them monthly or bi-monthly, right? If you're really in a building phase. But having none, that's not acceptable. Using Steam revenue for personal gain, bankrupting Intrepid Studios, and rejecting a restructuring. Remember, businesses can more easily go through bankruptcy and restructuring than personal accounts and personal bankruptcy. So it's always possible.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
New Epstein file, emails, refresh. Yeah, okay.
From the Epstein files raised some serious questions about the reliability of what the then Prince Andrew said in a BBC Newsnight interview in 2019.
Tonight, for the first time, Prince Andrew speaks out.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. From that day forth, I was never in contact with him.
We've gone through his replies to find out how they stand up to what we found out since in emails which were apparently sent by and to Andrew. He has previously denied any wrongdoing.
Surely. That's why he abandoned his
would be to some extent a stretch to say that as it were, we were close friends.
We now know that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and Jeffrey Epstein were in frequent contact with each other. They talked business, they mixed socially, they visited each other. They were close enough for Epstein to set up a dinner date for Andrew, promising that his guest was 26, Russian, clever, beautiful and trustworthy in an email.
Pretty good, honestly.
In 2008, he was convicted of soliciting and procuring a minor for prostitution. He was jailed. This was your friend.
Not good.
How did you feel about it?
Well, I ceased contact with him after I was aware that he was under investigation, and that was later on in 2006.
Surely.
And I wasn't in touch with him again until 2010. So it was one of those things. If somebody's going through that sort of thing, then I'm terribly sorry I can't be.
When he was serving time, there was no call, no letter, nothing there.
Except here's an email from Andrew to Epstein in 2009.
Wow. What a surprise. Who could have expected this?
please may I stay in your beautiful apartment again? Andrew was asking about using Epstein's place in Paris at a time when he says there was no contact.
He was released in July, within months.
Also, like, if somebody starts lying, you mean, like, there are the, like, you should always assume that lies are an iceberg. That the lies that you see are the vast minority, and you should assume that there are other lies that you're not aware of, you can't prove, or you didn't identify that also exist as well.
By December 2010, you went to stay with him at his New York mansion. Why? Why were you staying with a convicted sex offender?
Yeah. I have always, ever since this has happened, and since it's become, as it were, public knowledge that I was there, I've questioned myself as to why did I go, what was I doing, and was it the right thing to do?
Probably not. But this email was sent as soon as Epstein's sentence was over in July 2010, saying, congratulations.
Yep, there you go. Again, this whole, like, oh, I'm gonna pretend like this is so horrible and act like, oh my god, this is so bad. Meanwhile, you're fucking emailing, talking about this constantly. Let's party, yeah. They don't care.
You were allowed out from yesterday.
You're allowed
While
out
in New
from
York,
yesterday.
this
That's
picture
right.
was taken of the pair walking in a
It's a big club and you're not in it.
park. Andrew gave an account of their conversation, where their connection was said to have been severed.
Oof. The continued contact, exactly.
Because of what has happened, I don't think it is appropriate that we should remain in contact. And by mutual agreement during that walk in the park, we decided that we would part company, and I left the next day. And up to this day, I've never had any contact with him on that day.
Let me guess, it's going to be a cutaway to the lady?
But contact.
I mean, like, let's be real, right? I mean, like, I'm now, okay, I get it now. I see where things are going.
Showed no signs of stopping. Soon after, Andrew was back in the UK. It was great to spend time with my US family. Looking forward to
wow,
joining
how about
all of
that?
them soon, told Epstein. I'll call you tomorrow, as I'm leaving
That's
the
December.
family.
This is in 2010, right
Sanguine
afterwards.
during the day, the no contact had evaporated. Andrew went on to say Epstein had been understanding about the end of their relationship, with Andrew insisting that with all the attendant scrutiny on me, it was over.
Yeah.
But months later, they were still sending friendly emails to each other.
they're boys.
With Andrew in February 2011 promising Epstein, we'll play some more soon.
Man, how about that?
Only 60 seconds left.
In the interview, he maintained that he had taken a moral stance on cutting off ties with Epstein. It seemed an important part of his testimony.
I took a decision that it was, I had to show leadership and I had to go and see him and I had to tell him.
He's that guy.
Although the emails suggest that wasn't it. They were even in touch on Christmas Day.
Man, how about that?
About this being their only connection since his conviction in 2008.
Was that visit, December 2010, the only time you saw him after he was convicted?
Yes.
Did you see him or speak to him again?
I wonder.
That's disputed by the emails. Can you speak any time from now until later today?
So this is on Christmas motherfucking Eve. Okay.
That was Andrew's message to Epstein on Christmas Eve after that trip.
So he's
One
just
of a
making up
number of
bullshit.
emails that seemed to be about setting up phone calls.
Oh my god. The photograph? Which one?
The interview turned to
Wasn't
Virginia
Christmas
Roberts,
beef jerky?
whose later married name was Virginia Dupre, who became Andrew's most prominent accuser before her death in 2021.
Oh, she died. Wow.
Ephraim,
I can see that.
You don't remember meeting him.
Behind the scenes, there were emails back and forth about her claims. That included preparing a statement for Ghislaine Maxwell
Wait,
to
what?
explain her position, including a contribution from Amanda Thirst, Andrew's private secretary and close advisor. Her proposal was to reject Virginia's claims about being trafficked for sex with Andrew.
So they're in their emails, like, debating on how they're going to call this girl a liar?
As completely untrue, but she suggested that Maxwell said, "The only time I recall..."
top-notch team to win this one.
Some people want to have sex less than others. Some people want to have sex more than others. And none of that is about who they are morally as a person. It means nothing. It's just a bodily function that most people end up doing.
You don't even know why you're doing the things that you're doing. You just do things, and then you blame men. Why?
Welcome back to a series so burnt. Even this Peanut subscribed. In today's video, Hassan is now accusing streamer Burnt Peanut of being an agent of Israel, all because he made some dog-shocking jokes. You cannot make this shit up. After the backlash, he's trying to backtrack, saying it's a joke, while literally doing this to everybody else 100% seriously. He's now talking about somebody named Chibi Reviews and is kicking him at his lowest, making fun of him for almost ending his life after his wife cheated on him. Massive updates to Hassan's interview at UBC University in Canada. He has been confronted for his provocative language in the most softball way possible. He downplays it and then jokes about him saying America deserved 9/11. The audience is filled with complete NPC Hassan fans applauding his every word, ignoring his explicit terrorist support. He pulls out every woke card, acting like he cares about trans people and using them for quick points. He unironically talks about being a good person and how much he hates Capitol owners. Oh, we know. Yeah, those motherfuckers. He scoffs at the idea of being called a terrorist supporter and claims that he's simply trying to stop people from being divided. Of course, Hassan, the great uniter.
Lying is OP.
Subscribe or you become an agent of Israel just like Kaya. You're totally shocked. Please. Now let's begin. Right, so Hassan is back and is accusing everybody and their mom of being somehow an agent of Israel, even when they're completely unrelated. This time, he's accusing streamer Burnt Peanut of somehow being Israel's #1 streamer. So quick recap, basically Peanut, who's like a gaming streamer, made a bunch of dog-shocking jokes about Hassan because that was just sort of a thing to poke fun at or whatever, as everybody does, and that triggered him into the stratosphere, and he's been crashing out at him ever since.
I have just recently learned of a great dog training method. Shock them into so much pain until they don't move.
Rumor on the street, that was just a mobile vibrator.
Rumor on the street, his dog's dead now for some reason, and I have not heard any explanation. Actually, you know what's crazy is Hassan went to be his dog collar, and I strap it around my testicles while I do it for some extra sex. Now let's ride!
Right, so if you missed the previous episode, Peanut also recently made another joke where he was just speaking positively of America and making fun of some random guy on the stream, and Hassan obviously lost his mind.
USA is a joke. But if you got a flying black burrito worth more than the entire GDP of your country that could flash your shit before you blink.
So naturally, Hassan is doing what he does best and accusing him of being like an agent of Assad.
I just know you're fucking with me. All right, pal. You know, even if you did have internet.
Bro, this is the number one streamer of Israel. Israel's finest.
I feel better
I saw one of his fucking takes. I saw one of his takes about like America #1, and it was awesome.
Dude, we've got homeless people on the streets of LA living in tents with a newer iPhone than your president. USA, USA, back it up to what today!
Fucking awesome. Hell yeah, baby. Spiritually Dr. Kid Inspect? No, this is the new version. That's what I'm saying. This is like the patch notes version where Israel did its very best to be like, let's get Dr. Disrespect but without the kid diddler. That's what it is. You entertain yourself, your co-workers entertain themselves. It's Burnt Peanut, the most co-worker entertaining content creator out there, designing an Israeli laboratory. Let's get to another spiritually Israeli VTuber, Chibi Review.
Right, So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Burnt Peanut is now a streamer who was designed in an Israeli laboratory, according to Hassan Piker. He's actually the #1 streamer from Israel, actually. I mean, what can I say? This guy has got to be the most insufferable piece of shit. Basically, his logic is, anybody I don't like, anybody who makes a dog-shocking joke about me, they are somehow an agent of Israel. In fact, another reminder, he blamed him shocking his own dog using his fucking chubby fingers on Israel and far-right conspiracy, right? It is basically like the perfect scapegoat because things are very heated in online communities regarding that whole political situation, and Hassan sort of weaponized unrelated situation into it in order to get free points and just slander all of his opponents, who are not even opponents, by the way. This is just a guy fucking gaming and making jokes. By the way, what is this proof that Burnt Peanut is somehow working for Israel? Nothing. He literally made it up. Remember his motto? Lying is OP.
Lying is OP, as I say all the time.
Hassan just loves using that age-old trick, right? Just lie, you know? Because who is actually going to fact-check you in your cult audience? Literally nobody, right? And I just gotta say, this is the equivalent of Hassan smearing him with the worst thing ever. Because being called like an Israel dick rider is probably worse than being called a PDF file, because everybody's so polarized regarding this topic that they just want like the other side dead, essentially, right? So it's really irresponsible to do this because you're basically putting a target on Peanut's head based on literally no proof. Pure responded, keep in mind, one party smiles, jokes, and laughs for 8 hours on stream, while the other has to grift politics, scream at tweets, and yells at his viewers when they don't defend him. I'd be salty as frick if I was Hassan too. Peanut is 100 times the fun and makes more money doing it. Now the Peanut guy is somehow about Israel. Is anything not about Israel to Hassan? Bro, he purposely does this and his stupid audience falls for it every time. I swear it's like clockwork every time. Get in there and make it about Israel. Hassan wants to blame Jews for all his problems. Remember who did that in the past, and it's just a picture of Hassan sort of looking like Hitler. Hassan blaming Israel for everything, and it's SpongeBob's all reliable. That's a good one. That's a good one. Bro's so jealous of a peanut. Can a peanut get a little motion? Hassan is either jealous or he forgot to take his meds. How about both? Oh, so the dog zapper is mad that Peanut made a dog joke about him. I guess Israel did this.
Alright. Get over here!
Wait.
Get over here! Get over here!
Oh, nice taming.
Oh my god, dude. Thank you. You just
Got the same animal expertise as Hassan.
He's just a fun regard. The forced hate on Peanut from Hassan ever since Peanut got brought up to do a collab by Chatter and his chat started calling him extreme things. Hassan has been doing this. I don't get it. You cannot like Peanut, but he isn't doing anything. He just roleplays in Arc Raiders and Bros. It isn't that deep. Yeah, basically Hassan's chat just started calling him a fascist after they found out that he's making like dog-shocking jokes.
Do not play with him. He's a fucking fascist. I highly doubt that he is a fascist. Chatter. He gets paranoid, understandably, because I have chatters in here that immediately went, do not even touch that guy with a 10-foot pole. He's a fascist. And obviously, if you're like a normal content creator, why in the ever-loving would you ever want to be around someone like myself whose community instantly goes, that's a white supremacist, racist, fascist? Why would anybody subject themselves to that kind of insincere, psychopathic lens?
Anyway, so Hassan is trying to backtrack saying it's a joke, and, you know, just another classic joke by Hassan. Let me just slander this guy based on nothing, and then go, I was kidding. It's really funny, you know? So, by that logic, I guess people can call Hassan a PDF file and go, I was joking, RDR, just another classic gag by Diddy Piker. And also, you literally blame everything on Israel with 100% sincerity, and now this one case here, this one is a joke, obviously. Because everybody realized that this is complete bullshit, right? So we got this Twitter news thing. Twitch star Hassan Piker mocked rival streamer Burnt Peanut as the #1 streamer of Israel. Critics accused Piker of anti-Semitic tropes and jealousy as the Burnt Peanut tops Twitch's charts with 62,000 average viewers and 1.8 million followers, far outpacing Piker's 30,000. Interesting. So he has more than double his viewer count. And we all know how jealous Hassan gets of people beating him in viewers. We got YouTubers Wildcat going, this dude stubs his toe and blames Israel. Actually accurate. Hassan responds, I was joking, but you seem to be quite upset for some reason. Maybe because you're literally slandering a guy you don't like based on literally nothing? I mean, this guy's so ridiculous, man. Was you blaming Israel on you shocking Kaya a joke too? You blame a lot of stuff on Israel as jokes. Maybe you should just be like Nick and say, Jews, take the mask off Hassan. That's the thing. He is an anti-Semite. He's not wrong. You do blame everything on Israel. I wonder why people would be unable to tell that you were just joking. You say things like that often. Dude, I'm telling you, he's just trying to find a way to deflect and sort of throw these things out there. And then whatever sticks, and then whatever doesn't is like, oh, it's a joke. It's obviously a joke. Hey guys, look how regarded I am. F off, regard. Jokes on them. I was only pretending to be regarded. People say they're joking when they're getting cooked. Obviously, he picked a fight that he just simply couldn't handle here. Burnt Peanut apparently has a lot of motion here and is just cooking him. At least his fans are. Guy joking around and having fun while playing video games. Hassan lectures him about Jeffrey in Israel. Dude, what the frick did I just listen to? What's happened to his brain is what our parents said would happen to our brains if we watch too much TV or play too many video games. It's just much up there. Is Wildcat an Israeli supporter? Twitter's the only place where well-articulated sentences get misinterpreted. No, of course he's an Israel supporter because he dared call out Hassan. Hassan replies, this is your first tweet about Israel? Nice, man. Oh my god. Bro, legitimately, what the fuck is wrong with you? Not everybody has to talk about every single conflict in the entire world, bro. This is your job. You're a political commentator. Sure, you can talk about it or whatever while not slandering random gaming streamers. That would be nice, but you can't expect some random fucking gamer to just consistently talk about this stuff or bring it up when it's not, you know, even reflective of their audience at all. Hassan the type of guy to bust in like a top-level surgeon's room as he's performing heart surgery. You know, say, stop, emergency meeting right now. Has this surgeon talked about Israel? If he hasn't, abort the operation. I can't believe he's done this. Cancel him right now. Stop the heart surgery. That is unironically something that Hassan or one of his fans would actually do, because they are that level of brain rotted. They don't understand that there are many professions in this world. There are many things you can talk about in this world, and not every single person has to be overly obsessed with these geopolitical conflicts. We got Something Joe saying he's right though. Almost the entirety of America's army industrial complex has been used as a proxy in the Middle East. This weird over-enthusiastic patriotism and love of our weapons of war feed into that directly benefits Israel. Just see the reaction people have had to Iran. Are you fucking stupid? It's a gaming stream. Bro, I can't, man. I just can't with these people. Careful, he's gonna call you a Zionist. Too late. Too late. Yeah, bro, you don't get to lecture people on their disdain of Israel in a joking manner or not. After radio silence for 2.5 years since the G word, go back to opening Pokemon cards. Oh, brother, these people stink. Right, so anyways, at the end of the clip, you can see that he mentions this person called Chibi Reviews. Now, I have no idea who this is, never watched a single video, but apparently they're controversial or something. But basically, they were going viral recently for getting their life destroyed, right? Basically, his fiancée cheated on him with his best friend, and then his entire friend group also left him. So, complete life annihilation in like 24 hours and complete betrayal or whatever, right? And he basically started drinking a bunch and he was about to neck himself until somebody called a wellness check, and now he's still alive. So apparently this guy criticized Hassan in the past, so Hassan has a massive grudge against him, and he is ready right there to stab him in extra time when he's literally at his lowest and about to neck himself. This is like demonic evil right here. Hasanabi did not hold back on infamous person Chibi Reviews after finding out that his fiancé cheated on him with his best friend and everyone turned on him, even the internet.
That's true. Trauma.
Bro, he is ugly as sin too. That's like, I did. Yeah, he's chopped as hell, bitch. You mean? Brother, I'm gonna make fun of him a lot more, even after he openly reveals that he almost committed right here, okay?
I discovered my fiance cheating on me and was my best friend for 10 years. I confronted her about this. And,
I am strengthened for battle.
She apologized. I bought alcohol that was the same alcohol, the last alcohol, that I drank with my brother. Every night, bro, into the middle of nowhere, near water, and they drank, and drank. Just sitting there drinking. They drank from that. Then suddenly, a police officer shows up. Comes off. Then shows up. And
This type of stuff doesn't make sense. Like, how the fuck you drove in the middle of nowhere? Why did you start yourself by, like, drinking and then, what, driving? Why didn't you get arrested? I feel like this story is bullshit. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I want to believe it in my headcanon because, like, it's really funny. But I guess he was gonna, like, drive it into the water or something, but that's, like, the worst way to try to kill yourself, I feel like.
Okay, so hold up. Hassan legit just went, I'm gonna make fun of him more after he revealed that he was almost gonna take his life. I mean, how insane is that statement? I mean, I guess this is all because he criticized Hassan in the past. I mean, that is some demon shit, dude. Also, I love how he goes out of his way to question, like, the logistics of the story, right? Now, there's no way this actually happened. You're telling me he wasn't thinking straight when he wanted to neck himself? Oh my god, I can't believe it didn't perfectly plan it out, man. Like, wow, shocking, guys, shocking. Wow, a guy whose entire life was ruined and he was thinking about necking himself actually didn't use the right method, the Hassan approved method, right? Hassan himself would have, like, mailed him the rope personally, right? He would have it express delivered just to make sure he got it right. By the way, I want to remind everyone, this is the guy who claims to be the good guy, the fighter of evil in the world, right? The guy who's literally making fun of a guy who's about to take his life. And dude, the thing is, if Hassan himself was actually going through this, I would literally support him. Like, even though I don't like Hassan, if his, like, fiance cheated on him with his best friend, and he was so depressed that he was breaking down, crying on camera, saying that he's about to neck himself, I'd be like, holy shit, that is horrible. You know, nobody deserves that. Hope you actually, you know, get some help. And obviously, don't end your life. Nobody wants that to happen. That is horrible in any scenario, even if it's somebody I don't like, right? I wouldn't wish this type of shit on my worst enemy. But Hassan here seems to have no fucking problem, bro. Like, he's legitimately evil. This is, like, insane shit. Like, honestly, what the hell happened to empathy? He clearly learned, like, nothing from iDubbbz. Pure is finding dog abuser lacks sympathy for humans, too. Well, that is a common trope. People who have no empathy towards animals but usually sort of translate that into humans as well. Moving on to Hassan talking about Los Pollos. Now, reminder, they had, like, a massive back-and-forth drama where essentially Hassan and the Orbiters were trying to smear him and misrepresent him. Coincidentally, he also made comments on Hassan shocking his dog, which seems to be a common sort of trope on all of Hassan's enemies. Hassan reveals Los Pollos TV sent him an angry DM after he retweeted something about him.
Another hater down. Oh my god. Los Pollos sent me the funniest DM. I think it's because I retweeted this. Because he says, sat wrong and popped my left testicle, no stream. And Kayana says, remind me to never again get in an argument with Hassan on Twitter. And it's just like, I retweeted that because I thought it was funny. I don't know if it's, like, serious or not. And he sent me the funniest DM. He was like, you're a fucking agent. You are, like, get out of America. All you want to do is ruin America. I think he saw, like, liberal Twitter posts and was like, oh, it's my time. Like, because I don't see him. Isn't he MAGA? Like, I don't think he's, like, a Democrat. He's like, I'm a blue dog Democrat for years, motherfucker. I love Joe Manchin. Like, you know, I thought Kirsten Sinema was a babe. But, like, how dare you fucking talk shit about Gavin Newsom? Like, you know, you get hate DMs for streamers. You mean partner streamers are telling you to get out of the country? Yeah, so what? I mean, it's fine. I don't really give a shit. Yeah, Clav got taken down.
Okay, I don't know what the frick happened to Los Pollos. Hopefully that's a joke, but you know, if it wasn't, obviously Hassan doesn't care. You know, his ops could get blown up by artillery and he wouldn't give a shit. The bastion of empathy right here, right? Hassan doesn't care if you literally lose everything in life and neck yourself, all because of internet arguments and making a couple of jokes about him. I mean, I don't know why I'm acting surprised. Like, I knew Hassan was a really, like, evil person, but, like, even I thought that, okay, you know, sometimes at least, you know, in the worst of scenarios, even the worst people can be a little bit empathetic, because, like, nobody deserves that shit to happen to you, right? But then I gotta remind myself, this is a guy who screams on his stream to murder the capitalist motherflippers, or whoever engages in capitalism, I suppose, or being a landlord, which includes his own mother, by the way, so, you know, great guy. Getting mad at his son is a waste of time because he's a remorseless psychopath. There's no there, no accountability. I mean, now I'm starting to see it a little more. Anyway, somebody replied with this clip, and it's Hassan's thoughts on the Constitution and America.
That's unconstitutional. I f the Constitution. I wipe my ass with the Constitution. It's a fucking piece of paper, dude. Mother the Constitution and mother this country, okay?
Yeah, that sounds about right. You're a patriot here, of course. No wonder he hates burnt peanut because he said that he likes America, right? And that is the biggest no-no on the planet. Moving on to Hassan's interview in Canada. Now, recap, last time he went to the University of British Columbia in Canada, and he went on stage and he started lying like it's nobody's business, right? We covered a bit of it last video, where he was talking about how truthful he was.
Lying is OP, as I say all the time.
So now we're gonna look at the whole thing and the brain-dead NPC audience clapping at anything he says. I've never seen a group of bots like this before. So first the host talks about his provocative language.
But even among those who agree with you on the issues, there are some that say that sometimes the way that you express that or the language that you use is, you know, for some it's not productive. And so I wonder sort of how you think about that trade-off and how you approach it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a question I get all the time. And the way I see what I do, oftentimes people say this is a cop-out, but the way I see what I do is I'm an entertainer first. And as someone who tries to make this information as palatable as possible, I'm always going to, you know, engage in hyperbole from time to time and try to crack jokes, even though a lot of the subject matter that I'm covering is very serious stuff.
Can't keep discaging down for
but
long.
I think I want to make it as accessible as possible. So in an effort to do so, you know, there are going to be moments where I'm joking around a little too much, and then people don't like it. But anyone that follows me for 10 minutes on Twitch can talk to me in real time. And whether I have 300,000 live concurrent viewers or 30,000 live concurrent viewers, I'm constantly monitoring chat. To such a degree that anytime there's a journalist in the room that's covering what I'm doing, they're like, "This is the most insane thing I've ever seen. How are you paying attention to anything that's going on?" And I have this free flow back and forth communication style in my coverage as well that I bake into my coverage as well, and that creates a unique opportunity for that. From time to time, that's really pissing me off.
Yeah, don't worry. We all know that you have meltdowns on a regular basis, bro. I hate the woke. I hate the left.
Oh my fucking god, I hate the left. I hate liberalism. I hate everything that's going on every single fucking day of the goddamn week. I hate my life. I hate fucking streaming. I hate socialism.
But yeah, Hassan does this thing where he keeps bringing up his chat and his sort of view count as a way to say that there's no way I could possibly report anything wrong because look, there's all these people watching me in real time. That means they will totally fact check me at any moment, right? And that would make sense if you didn't literally lead a cult who does not give a fuck about the truth of the matter and only just wants to live in an echo chamber. Like, let's be honest, they are not fact-checking anything. They literally make up shit to troll you and you just sort of go with it. Also, this pathetic soy cuck host here giving these softballs to Hassan. Oh, you know, sometimes you use provocative language. How about you just play the clips on stage so that everybody can see what he says, right? Neck those mother flippers. Hezbollah is my favorite flag. All these horrible quotes. 10 toes down, he supports the Houthis. It's like, dude, these quotes are so bad that I don't even want to repeat them. It's like, it's that bad. And I gotta be very careful when saying that because I don't want to be clipped out of context, right? It's actually like crazy that I gotta be scared to say his fucking quotes. Zero pushback in this interview, man. So then Hassan talks about doing propaganda and just admits that that's what he's been trained to do. And then he brings up his comments of when he said America deserves 9/11.
Sort of provocation too, is it important for you to be provocative to generate responses?
Provocative as far as my commentary, yes. I mean, I used to have a show on the Young Turks called Agitative Propaganda. I think it's important to do agitative propaganda to unlock the class consciousness among the masses, which is missing from this equation, I think, especially in the Western world. Yeah. But as far as like being provocative to say something crazy, no, that's not beneficial. I know people think that is like the reason why I'm saying certain things, like, you know, whether or not America deserved a certain specific day. But no, that's just coming out of me sometimes when I'm just really angry.
Oh my God. How tragic is it that this, like, a portion of this audience, or maybe the whole thing, is filled with Hasan fans here because they literally know the quote. They literally know it before he says it, and they're just sort of applauding at that, you know, or laughing at that. Oh my god, bro. If you go to UBC, I'm so sorry, bro. I'm genuinely so sorry for the fact that you have to live with these idiotic classmates and go to the same classes knowing that the people around you are absolute sheeps who can